Caregiver fatigue 30M engaged to 28F. What do I do? I have been engaged to my fiancé for 3 years.
When we first met, we were overweight and smokers. Since then, I've quit smoking and put on some more weight, but I'm doing my best to lose it. She has relapsed into smoking and the smell is so bad, we're sleeping in separate rooms.
I maintain the apartment, perform all the car maintenance, do all the laundry, and remind her to attend her appointments.
2 years ago,
she was diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma and had a very long recovery, 9–12 months, with every complication you can think of.
I was the sole provider, paying for everything and tending to her wounds, and driving to her appointments. When we moved into our upstairs apartment, I did the majority of the lifting since she was still recovering.
She has since recovered and returned to work.
But I feel like I am doing nearly everything with bills and the apartment cleaning.
Not to mention that I have to remind her constantly to go to her appointments, and half the time, it's forgotten. The cancer diagnosis was only discovered because I twisted her arm to go to the dermatologist, otherwise she would have forgotten. She doesn't take care of herself and insists on, my body, my choice. Okay, you can have autonomy of your body and choices, but don't you feel like surviving cancer would be some sort of wake-up call? Intimacy has been dead for quite some time, since pre-surgery, and I hate to admit it, but I'm not physically attracted to her anymore.
She complains about it regularly about what I should do, but if I gently suggest something, it goes off the rails very quickly. Maybe I'm the asshole, but I don't have anyone to talk to about this, and therapists in my area are either not accepting patients or won't take my insurance. Any advice would be appreciated. I'm a therapist.
Obligatory legal. This is not medical advice, just general advice. Always consult with a doctor, etc.
But this isn't healthy for you. You need to get out of this situation.
She's right. It's her body.
She can make her bad choices on her own. It does not mean you have to stay and accept responsibility for it.
Let her go.
This relationship has run its course. It is not fun to admit, but it sounds like it's time to move on.
What exactly are you getting out of this relationship? You are allowed to break up with someone for any reason at all, and you have listed many reasons that would be relationship enders for me. You are clearly a very empathic person, and I'm sure your partner has many positive traits, but you need to free yourself from this burden and allow yourself to live.
It will be tough, but you can't make someone care about themselves, much less you. I think I'm staying for the same reason why most bad relationships last longer than they should: fear of the unknown, financial responsibility, and hoping things will improve with time and enough chances. I'm afraid of the unknown. What's going to happen? Plain and simple. We're sharing a lease, and I made the foolhardy decision to co-sign a car for her.
At the time, things were great relationship-wise, and we needed a car.
I fear that in the event of a breakup, she will screw me over with the apartment, and the car will be eventually repossessed, leaving me on the hook for the remainder of the loan.
You can't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. You were there when she needed you, but she needs to be her own person and a functional adult, and some people just don't have it in them. My sister is a failure to launch, 80s millennial, and no amount of prodding, soft words or guidance will make her stand on her own feet. Your fiancé sounds the same, an energy vampire. At 28, her health is only going to get worse as she ages. You will be stuck in a sexless, miserable, financial prison for as long as you allow yourself to be.
You are not required to watch someone slowly kill themselves.
I, M23, blocked my girlfriend, F23, without letting her explain, and now I feel bad. Advice? I, M23, have been dating my girlfriend, F23, for a year.
She cheated a few months in by downloading a dating app and going on dates with 2 different guys. I chose to forgive her because she seemed genuinely sorry and told me it wouldn't happen again.
Fast forward a few months later, I caught her re-downloading a dating app, and this time, she said it was because she didn't feel the spark anymore, and she added on by saying she wanted to see if this spark was present when talking to other guys, so that she can identify if our texts are becoming drier. I initially wanted to break up, but she came up with a suggestion of a situationship, where we would be allowed to talk to other people, and if we still think we're more suited for each other, we can patch things up. Essentially, it's a break. I knew I wouldn't be talking to anyone new, and honestly, I don't know why I agreed to that, but what's done is already done. So yesterday she told me she was going to a club alone, because she never experienced it before and wanted to know what's it like.
We were just texting as usual, and she suddenly went AFK from the chat at around 1:15 a.m. I sent a follow-up question at around 2:45 a.m., and she told me she was on the way home. I called her at 3 a.m. and she told me she was home, but before she hung up, I heard a guy's voice at the back. I immediately called her and she suddenly said she was close to home, and that he was driving her back, along with his friends, before hanging up. I tried calling her back again but she didn't want to pick up until she updated me today morning. She said when I called her at 3 a.m., the guy just reached the main entrance of her condominium, and she was about to leave his car. That's why I still heard his voice.
Now I know what you're thinking. I agreed to this break, where we were allowed to meet new people, but I just felt sick to the stomach that she was potentially having sex with that dude and giving me a bunch of excuses. I sent her a text afterwards telling her that I don't think I can trust her words anymore, and that even though I agreed to this break, I just don't wish to continue living like this anymore. I ended it off by saying I genuinely loved her but I don't think things would ever work out between us. Now I'm thinking if I was wrong for ending things so abruptly without letting her explain, instead of meeting in person and talking things out. Please advise. No, you were not wrong. If anything, you should have ended it much earlier. Don't be pathetic. Blocking her is fine. You're insane to continue dating her while she looks for an upgrade. Don't do things like that. Have self-respect. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, you get ghosted. Nah man. You did the right thing. She wants to be open, show her an open door. Glad you found your spine, I was afraid you lost it. Leave her in the past and move on. If you allow her to explain, she'll just have another opportunity to bullshit you and manipulate you again. You did the right thing. My 23F boyfriend, 26M, keeps barking during our conversations. How do I handle this? I know this sounds like I'm trolling or faking, but I'm being so serious. I changed the animal sound and I would post screenshots, but he uses Reddit and I know he'll see it. I met this guy and things were going good for the first year of our relationship. However, I think something changed in him or what, because every text, every conversation he'll bark. He'll text bark. He'll bark when I ask him a question he doesn't want to answer. He barks when saying good morning. I guarantee every conversation we have he'll bark even when trying to say something sexy in text. I stopped answering him and asking him to stop barking, but he says, "You can't silence the dog." I know people make up stories on here, but I promise this is real. I'm starting to lose feelings, but when he finally acts like an adult and we talk, things are great. He makes me laugh and we get along great. I have tried to talk to him about this or ignore his texts when he just replies bark. But I'm getting really annoyed by it. Edit. This whole thing started a couple months ago. It wasn't when we first started dating. It's been a year total, so I was trying to work with him, but comments made me realize I've been too passive dealing with this and I need to be more stern and make my feelings known more directly. If not, I don't think I can continue this relationship. Does he happen to be the last man alive in your city? 'Cause why else would you date what sounds like two dogs in a trench coat? I knew a guy who would crow like a rooster every time he heard a word associated with chicken. You can't silence the dog, but you could just leave him, you know. Whack him on the nose with a newspaper every time he does it. Date adults? Have him get neutered. I cannot understand how dating standards have gotten so low. How shitty are men now that you have to accept this bullshit? My boyfriend, M36, wants us to get our name tatted, F27. What should be done? My boyfriend of 4 years wants us to get our names tatted. He says he will not propose unless this happens. 28F and 36M. I don't want to get a tattoo. He says it would make him feel secure and happy and he'll get my name too. I would be willing if already married, but not before. I don't know anyone whose partner has asked this of them to progress the relationship. I don't want to leave, but I also don't want to waste my time if we will never get married. I'm torn on whether I should just get it or leave. He wants security, but so do I. He has told me this in the past, but I hoped he would change his mind and understand why I don't want a tattoo. Should I get the tattoo? Do not get anyone's name tattooed on you. Full stop. Yeah, no. He just told you he's an insecure little man. Do not get his name tattooed on any part of your body. Let him go and date someone your own age.
Ultimatums never work.
Sounds as though your boyfriend is the controlling type. By having you tattooed, he probably feels as though you will become property to him.
Or. That is.
Getting a tattoo is something that you should never ever do unless it's something you actually want. Don't get one just to please someone who's being unreasonable.
Nope is the answer. I've been married 30 years and I still wouldn't get my wife's name tattooed on me. My kids, sure. They'll always be my kids. But any relationship less certain than that is a hell no. If you're questioning this, then it's better to just not get the tattoo and break up. He's so insecure. Getting married should already prove that you're committed to him. Don't get the tattoo.